Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the NWA for Saturday night for the 24th of February 1990. We're going to finish 1990 off today, which makes me happy. We're going to go into 1989. Obviously, we've got all the way to bits of 1986 here, or 1985 here, at the end of 1985. Ranger Ross and the Italian Stallion kicking things off this week with the Andersons, Ole and Arn. I love to see Ole Anderson wrestle just because his approach to wrestling is something I've always agreed with. Obviously, a lot of people say he's a bitter guy. I get that, but at the end of the day, he also wrestled like $1,000,000 and certainly had a great deal of aggression, and that's something that I think we need more of in wrestling. Make it look like a fight, make it look like it matters, make it look like it counts, make it look like people care if they win or lose. Anyway, Ole Anderson comes in on Ranger Ross, takes the guy down, and works over the arm as Anderson is often wont to do. Pretty continual process here, and Anderson kind of cinches up on that arm to the best of his ability and manages to do what he can where he can, and ultimately kind of making things come together. The process is pretty slow in that Ranger Ross tries his best to get things going. This is a match worth watching if you want to make or focus on making every move count, every move matter. Certainly, the Andersons getting the victory, and they are right behind the Steiner brothers, trying to get rid of the Steiners once and for all for their own benefit. We go back to the announce desk, so to speak, and ultimately that leads to a review of last week. The challenge coming from Lex Luger for the upcoming cage match, as it were, and Luger basically taking out Ric Flair with some shots. Obviously, Flair is about to run, or television time about to run out, and the pipe in for the Wrestle War run is there in the last minutes. Then we see a highlight film for the Freebirds and the Dynamic Dudes here. This is from Worldwide. And unless we had, I have to take a sip of water there. Unless we had the full Worldwide match, not going to cover that. As most people know, I'm not a fan of cross branding your stuff. Anyway, hype for the Wrestle War run here in 1990. Less pay-per-views. I think pay-per-views were more impactful than the Steiner brothers are open to taking on the wonder that is the Andersons for the tag team championships coming up, and obviously that wonder continues. Also, they are wishing Sting well. Sting obviously has been laid out by the Horsemen and other injuries, the Dragon Masters, and all of that. Also, I mean, again, you kind of get Scott Steiner promising to take care of the Andersons in a more permanent and pertinent way. Cactus Jack Manson, aka good old Mick Foley Cactus Jack, in an enhancement match with Kevin Sullivan as his tag team partner. Sullivan's Slaughterhouse still a thing here at the end of the year, away from the Varsity Club. Cactus, obviously, as we can see, kind of going at it pretty aggressively with his adversary here. Not exactly a surprise, as Cactus Jack, never known for being soft by any stretch of the imagination, brawling a bit, driving the guy into the canvas. Cactus does do the leap off of the apron. Trucker Norman, aka Muckin Singh, aka Norman the Lunatic, does catch Cactus on the outside with a shot after he has jumped out of the ring. Kevin Sullivan obviously not happy. The issues with Norman, kind of a goofy deal here. Enhancement match goes longer than it needs to, but they kind of tell the backstory of that whole Sullivan deal there. So, and the Varsity Club having broken down in the weeks and months to follow. Then we go to a really good match, which is worth checking out, which is Brian Pillman and the Z-Man versus the Midnight Express. Really good match here, just in terms of lots of back and forth. Pillman is lighting up Bobby Eaton. Pillman and Eaton, a good series from head scissors to hip tosses and the like. But Brian Pillman, I think, underrated guy historically looking back, and to think that would have passed away 7 years after this. Just I don't know. Always strikes me odd when certain guys pass and there's more meat left on the table, but and that certainly is Brian's tragedy. Also, the Z-Man Tom Zink, I think, is not remembered as fondly as he could be either. Anyway, some drop kicks and back body drops on the Rock and Roll Express. The team of Eaton and Lane do eventually use the rocket launcher, although the Z-Man out of the way after that. Brian Pillman off the top with a cross body, and the victory for the Rock and or the team of Zink and friends. Brian talking about being ready to be a champion. Also, speaking of being ready to be a champion, Lex Luger says he wants to put an end to Ric Flair and the Horsemen once and for all, coming up at the pay-per-view, with Sting being out of action, and that seems to be his major focus. U.S. champion Lex Luger up next in his next in series of matches here. Of course, Luger, a three-time U.S. champion, which if you look at the fact that he'd only been pro for about 4 years, maybe a little more than 4 years at this point, certainly just odd to see him taking that much of a role. Clotheslines, punches, kicks, and the torture rack backbreaker is there. Ric Flair makes his way down in the middle, trying to distract none other than the benefit of Lex Luger. Flair trying to get an advantage with the Horsemen. Flair runs into the crowd, and Luger obviously does some grandstanding. So a lot of people thought at the time Luger was going to win the championship, which obviously doesn't happen. Then we see a promo with Mean Mark Callis, a.k.a. The Undertaker with Teddy Long. Then we go into another in the series of enhancement matches. I think Bill Ford is the main individual here, and Doug Furnas is out there. Doug Furnas, guy who doesn't really get terribly good in the States, more known for his Japan stuff. Obviously a guy that people need to take seriously, but never really hits as much as he'd like to in the States, except for a short run in ECW where he was really good. Anyway, some power downs there and basic maneuvers. Furnas takes a little bit longer than one would expect to get a victory, but then we kind of see belly to belly and a deep drop kick. Furnas also goes to the top rope and gets a victory with the top rope leg drop. I'm not quite sure that Furnas winning with a top rope leg drop is the right way to go with a guy like Bobby Eaton on the show, but anyway, proof that even all the way back 30 plus years ago, we had limitations, let's be honest, about the nature of the ways that guys would get action under control and kind of protecting each other's finishes and that sort of thing. Wrestle War 90 is hyped, and we continue to look at Wrestle War as a major event, even though maybe for that time period it wasn't as major as people thought. Final 5 minutes of the show, a squash match from the Road Warriors. Road Warriors want to go at it with Doom. Zan Panzer and another masked individual, two masked individuals against the Road Warriors. Obviously, they need less than 5 minutes to get things handled. Big shoulder tackle by Animal and a big power slam by him as well. Road Warriors going to be done with the WCW run here within the next couple of months. So obviously, them coming up against Doom is kind of where we're going. and the Doomsday Device is a victory for them. And Teddy Long and Paul Ellering are also going to do battle, and Paul Ellering basically says that Long does not want to cross him, even though it's going to happen. So that's where we go there. We'll be back with more right after this.